Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Live broadcast of the BL13 race series. It's race number 9 and number 10. We're out on the Watopia Circuit CCW for 2 laps, and we're out on the Watopia 2 bridges for the second race today for 12.7 kilometers with a custom course. We're going to jump right down to the pens. Dave, Fast and Furious back-to-back racing is what BL13 racing is all about on Wednesdays. We'd have some pretty good crews jumping in here, and we got a good A category that we're going to be with a lot of familiar names, it looks like.
Yeah, a lot of familiar names. It's great to be back at the Watopia Pier. Well, for a moment as we hit out here. So, yeah, Volcano Circuit, 13K for the first race. These have been an absolute blast, Nathan. I love jumping in on Wednesdays. There's Aaron Burrill. Aaron moving over to, correct me if I'm wrong, I always remember him as a Toyota Cryo
You are
rider.
100% correct, Dave.
There we go. Well, that's a big pickup for BL13.
It's a huge pickup, actually, for them. He represented their country, actually, I believe, at World Championships, the South African.
100%.
So good to see him on the front of this and BL13 being their series. It's almost like their challenge race, which I absolutely love about that. They show up, they go hard. They definitely have a crew that looks to challenge everybody. And we do have a couple other teams showing up as well as some big hitters here. Ozer, definitely one to watch out for, out of Turkey. This guy, he showed up last week and had some domination as well.
Yeah, let me just throw 16.8 watts per kilo for 15 seconds at you. Wrap your mind around that kind of power. The guy is a monster. I saw Moffat Tarek is here as well. We've got you nailed it, Nathan. We've got the A team racing out here today for sure. These races are always intense. They've always been meant to be. I want to go back to what you're saying about BL13 hosting these races. I'd like to see more of that, to tell you the truth. The teams putting on events was really, if you go back at USA Cycling, the best years are always going to be those years where the teams were putting on races and were actively participating in the promotion and organization, not just the racing part of it, because the racers know what the racers want. That, I think it all starts there, sort of like the FUBU mindset for us by us. But let's take a look at Thomas Berry right now. He's going to put everybody into the hurt locker here, Nathan.
Yeah, he is. And Barry always wanted to make some good moves. Watch out for him. He's got the good timing. I think we're going to see some counter moves coming now from Grupp. And this is the timing, though. Like we say a lot of times, Dave, you always want to be the last move. And Grupp here, I think, making a really good counter up and over the top. He's got those plays here, a little bit of steering, making sure nobody's on his wheel. This bomber, who's actually his teammate, backs off for 2.6, goes back into the pack now. It is going to be Martingo there from Portugal over the top. Podsline now responding, Borrell responding. Everybody knowing that this is a danger moment over the top and into the flat section, because now, Dave, people have that expectation, right? The climb, that little bump as they're heading on over to the volcano, everybody knows it's going to go hard there. It's after that section when everybody's already got a little bit of sting in the legs. That's when the real moves can go. And Borrell, he's now coming over the top of his teammates' initial attack.
Boy, BL13, Nathan, I think their feathers were a little ruffled after last week, and they came with a whole new mindset of racing. Very, very aggressive out here. I mean, this is bananas what they're doing out here right now. Michael Podsaline getting up there. The man out of Connecticut has been an exceptional talent that's really emerged, in my mind, over this last off season as he's really been putting in the work. But there you go. Christian Grupp has hit out with authority. Nathan, the Talent Frey rider, cannot be ignored.
Yeah, Talent Frey now on the move. They got a little bit of a gap, but this is now going to be alarm bells. Now, watch out for Hexagon. They've been sitting in. They've got 4 riders here today, and now they know it's time to move. They may have a couple matches here still within the pack to be able to be burned as they watch everybody use up their match book a little bit here, Dave. And I think that they're playing it kind of cool at this point. But once you get 4 or 5 riders off the front, I think they said, hey, we got to close that down. There's not a whole lot of landscape to work with here. We don't want anything to get too out of hand. So immediately they sent Brossard to the front. There's 3 more sitting in. KN Brothers and Ozer, Dave, I believe is riding also. If I'm not incorrect, I may be incorrect there, but there's plenty of Hexagon firepower here to take on BL13. I think that's the main other team to be watching out for. Talent Frey do have 2 riders in here as well, but Hexagon, I think, going to be their main battle out here today as far as team tactics go.
I couldn't argue that, Nathan. The other team, even though they don't really have the numbers, I would look at Wahoo Lacole with a really talented duo there. I'm looking to see if maybe they have more than just Mafa Tarek and Michael Painter today. But you make an excellent point here. And for BL13, that's exactly what they wanted. They're not here to just dominate and win. They're here to get a great workout in, work out some tactics as well. And this is exactly what's happening. So that's going to be Ozer that Nathan is focusing in on right now. Last week's winner, actually, kind of hard to say last week's winners. We have 2 races every week here. This is 9 and 10, but the Kayan brothers are here as well, Berk and Khan Kayan, and they are absolutely going to be major players in the ultimate outcome here today. So back in with Tracy as he
What happened
moving
with
through
Tracy?
the group now. Yeah.
Tracy was like off the back. He's got an
But look at
FPS
this
thing
now.
going on here or something. That's really interesting, Dave. Yeah. This is I wonder what happened with Tracy because he was way off the back for a moment and then comes screaming through with an Aero power up.
I feel like we're watching a Red Bull ad or something, right? Because this is one motivated athlete. He gets up to the front. I think it's really just to be there, to tell you the truth, to take up a spot for the BL13. As Aaron is back at it now. Aaron Barilla here. And there we go. Wahoo Lacole attacking with Michael Podzaline.
Podzaline, watch out for him. And even though they only have 2 today, Dave, definitely always somebody to be watching out for is Michael Podzaline. He has the firepower. He has the know-how. We've seen him do it many times. He is definitely a rider that likes the breakaway situations as well. So we'll see if Podsy can make it happen here. Group now following. He also loves the breakaways, always instigating at the front. Again, I can't go past the fact that there are some of the strongest esports athletes in the world, top ranked. Lisan, Hexagon with the Kayan brothers, Ozer, still sitting in this group, and we've barely seen them on the front. Dave, I have a feeling we really need to watch out for the second half. They're letting everybody else get a little bit of fatigue in the legs with 1 lap to go. 1 lap? Oh, no, 2 laps. This is a little longer race today, Dave.
It's 3 today. Yeah, it is 13K, a little bit longer, isn't it? So, or actually, I apologize. It is 2 laps, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 laps. 2 laps out
2
here.
laps.
So
there we go.
So is that 2 to go from right here then? That's interesting.
That was all a lead in to the first lap?
Yes, that's
and
all.
So,
yeah. Because I saw 2 to go on the list.
That's
there.
a long lead in for sure, but it all makes sense. Absolutely. So, yeah, Nathan, this is an all-star race, what we've got going on now. And what that tells me is, especially when you see the quality of riders that are cooling out back in the peloton right now, this finale, this would be a really good one to watch. There's no doubt I'm looking forward to the finale of both of our BL13 races here. But right now, we've got a pretty serious attack going up the road, and it's the danger team. So Utley up the road. This is going to help out BL13 for the next few kilometers at a minimum.
That's one of the best places to go to. When you come off the little climb into the lap finish banner, and then there's the descent, a lot of people have used a lot of matches going over the 2-tier that goes into that sprint section if it were the finish. But you can also use that as an attack section, as we saw from Group and a couple others. Then BL13 sees the speed that they gain over the top of that, and because it is a slight downhill, 5%, 3%, 2-tier downhill, you punch a little bit there, you can immediately get 3 seconds. He takes full advantage of that. Everybody up until this point has essentially been countering every move. Utley immediately gains 6 seconds here, Dave, and he's only going at threshold tempo, not tempo, but threshold at this point. He can hold this for quite a long time, Dave. I think that this is a danger move. 8 seconds up the road, I have a feeling we're going to see some orange numbers popping across pretty quick here.
This is 100% the benefit of being on the strongest team in the race. What they've done is put everybody, basically backed them into the corner and said, either you're going to chase down our man up the road and we're going to sit on and going to benefit from that, or Philip Utley's going to win today. How do you like them apples? So this is really a great lesson in how to operate as a strong team in the race. If they were just BL13, I'm talking about sitting back in the peloton, waiting for the race to be made, it would be a huge mistake for them. They've taken the bull by the horns. They're animating and dictating this race right now. So if they don't win, well, they've got to feel good about the fact that they are trying out some tactics. Now, Christian Grupp, I like this. He realizes the tipping point has arrived here now. So I think Christian Grupp is going to go ahead and roll the dice with the breakaway. He doesn't want to sprint with the likes of this field, Nathan. So it makes a ton of sense for him. It makes a ton of sense for a couple of. I wouldn't be too surprised if Podzoline wants a little bit of this, wet his beak on this breakaway as well.
Now, the question is, if Grupp gets in here, 49 kilometers per hour, Utley gets on the wheel here, can they keep the speed on this downhill? A lot of questions are about to be answered on what kind of speed they hold. Grupp, okay, do they both have steering? They do. Okay, I thought maybe he was being a little bit there, like a little bit. I ain't giving you a wheel, but they both do have steering. It was just I think momentary.
I think he was asking him to pull.
Yeah, something was going on there where I think he was mainly just doing a little bit of an inside corner there for a moment. It looked like to me.
Podzoline's coming,
now.
Nathan.
That's huge.
So
now, if you get 3, but here's the struggle, Dave. This little 2-tier, they're going to go bananas over the top. With only 5 seconds, that can get closed down pretty quick. But I think they're all going to be under a lot of pressure in that group at this moment, and we might see a good split with a reduced group in just a moment here.
Well done with the draft power up here as he gives himself a little bit of a break after making that huge bridge move going from station to station. Adding Podzoline into the recipe is like adding chocolate chips into cookies. You cannot go wrong. So I'm pretty stoked to see this group of 3 now, Nathan. This is a workman-like group. It's Utley, Podzoline, and Grupp. 3 different teams, 3 very strong riders, and 3 relatively evenly matched riders, Nathan. If they can split up this workload here into thirds, we might see a shocking breakaway stay away today in a race that I think that the odds were 25-1 that we saw a field sprint. These guys are looking to upset the apple cart.
Yeah, and with 7 seconds and orange numbers on the front, that's where it's doable. As you see the orange numbers behind here, they needed to do orange numbers to hold them off. They really needed this, and they're now going to hold them at about the same distance, the same time frame with about 1 lap to go. A lot of questions, again, they'll be answered over the top of here because this is where that group will have the most motivation to work with each other because it is uphill. That is the sections where they can say, look, I'm not just dragging the group around. Where is Hexagon? That's the big question right now.
That's what I was just going to say. And it looks like Ozer is starting to move up to the front of them. Yeah, there you go. So Hexagon, you're going to look for these orange jerseys. This really is their problem as a team more than anyone else out here. The Portuguese rider Martingale's been impressive today as we see him up to the front. I think he's going to want to work with this group, and I have a feeling just the gravity, the talent in this peloton here, even though they're not full gas, it's just so hard to hold this group off today on what really looks like a sprinter's delight. BL13 attacking out of the peloton now, so putting 2 riders. That's going to be Daz Carter, the mighty Daz Carter. So here we go. Let's go ahead and click it into gear now, Nathan. Bike race is in full effect. Daz Carter attacking up and over the top. This is going to be a good one.
1 lap to go. Carter over the top. The counter attack. 1 to go. Man. 1 to go. Barry goes right with him. They actually used their Aero power-ups, both of them over the top. Barry actually got a drafting power-up as he came over the top as well. All of the alarm bells going off. Tarek now responding. This is some of the best racing I've seen all year, Dave. BL13 100%. Has shown up back-to-back-to-back attacks nonstop. They are making the race today.
I love this. I mean, I was commenting on social media that oddly enough, Wednesdays have become my favorite race. There's something about this BL13 format that is absolutely brilliant. So Daz Carter has lit the fuse. You can hear it sizzling now. 2 riders coming up to Carter, including Moffat Tarek. Moffat Tarek is going to be very, very dangerous here. And Noonan of the Hydro team. First time that we've seen Noonan's name here. So the American trying to get up into the conversation, and that is going to be Noonan right there. But Moffat Tarek comes in as one of the top-ranked riders in this race. He's extremely dangerous. One of the Wahoo Lacole riders that have been, I mean, they're a team of 2 today that's racing like a team of 10.
Now, KN here finally getting involved, going across 189 beats per minute, Dave. I mean, they are under pressure. When you start seeing these kind of heart rates from this kind of talent, you know the race is on now. And they definitely are responding to complete alarm bells. This is not a joke. Everybody is trying to get involved here, Dave. 3 seconds, 4 seconds. They're continuing to open up. Even though this group behind has split from the pack, they're now this is a roll away here. This train is left here, Dave. I think Barry and Carter may do this, but 4 seconds back to the chase group, another 8 seconds back to the main group, but only 3 watts per kilogram here. Now we do see another response coming on in from KM, but now KM backing off. What's happening here? Hexagon again with Costa Plane. They've got numbers still, Dave.
They've got numbers, Nathan, but I have to think that somebody's got to start ringing the alarm bells back in that group, or else they're going to run out of real estate. I realized that this was supposed to be a sprint. I think everybody thought we would have it come back together. BL13 absolutely knows how to zig when others zag, and this is a great example of that. Thomas Berry comes in as one of the best sprinters on the planet, Nathan, but he's attacking here with old school fury. Gap is 4 seconds back to Noonan. Kayan is there at 5. That might be the biggest danger here is Tarek and Kayan together, representing 2 different teams. So they would have every reason to work together for the moment to try to bring this back, because red alert, Thomas Berry has hit out, and he's down to really, Nathan, about 1.5K of racing until he hits that finish line. I think the man's got it.
Oh, man, it's tough because let's see. What does Podsline do on the
downhill?
Worst
part
53,
for him.
54, 53, 54, 50, 49 kilometers per hour, Dave. They did outspeed. They did do better speed than him over the top of that. And that's the big question a lot of times is what kind of speed is that pack carrying? And they're going to carry a lot of that through here. Now, there's still a chase group. I don't know. They're going to be very motivated, though, this chase group, Dave. We'll see, because look at this, 4.3.
That's group. Right. I mean, so that's our leader, Thomas Berry. You go back to chase 1. I mean, it would almost be better for them if that was just one group chasing, swapping out horses on the front over and over, rather than, the situation that they've got where it's kind of stabilized here, Nathan, and he's down inside of a K to go. Thomas Berry making his legend today.
I think he's done it, Dave. I think he has done it at 7 seconds. I mean, they're going to come on like a freight train in just a moment. The moment that this gallop starts, it's going to start getting nail biting. Barry has to put everything down that he possibly can from here to the finish line. 9 watts per kilogram from Pod's line. They're going to fully commit from here on to the line, I think. Podsy now goes. He's coming in quick here, Dave. But Barry's got 7 still, and you're right. He's got orange numbers.
Yeah, and so he can level himself up one more time. Thomas Berry, I'm not surprised that he's going to win. I am really surprised the way that he is winning out here. As BL13, our host today, really playing their cards right now. I guess I should hold off because he hasn't won yet, and they are coming like a runaway freight train here. So this is what it's all about. Can Ozer get there? Berry, again, he's maybe got one more jump. He's going to need to use it. Oh!
Group comes over the top, and the pack is just too much as the gallop starts. Group to the line. It's going to be Ozer for second, Dave. The timing. Lisan actually for second. Excuse me. Look at that. Lisan sitting in and waiting for the moment. What a race, Dave. That was amazing. Poor Barry. You gotta believe that.
Yeah, poor Barry, but lucky us. What an incredible race that was. And I tell you, it goes to show you it's never over till it's over. The final surge is mind-bending when you look at the power that these guys can make. I think even Thomas Berry has to tip his cap at these guys today. Wow, what a great race. So time to move into recovery mode here. Typically, Nathan, it's about 10 minutes. It's going to be a little bit less than that today until we start the next race. So 13K, not a long race, but a really brutal one for our riders out here. Taking a look at a replay now. I think this was the point when I thought Barry had it, to tell you the truth.
Exactly. Same here. And then I knew that there was going to be this touch and go moment hitting that 2-tier, and whether or not they had the punch still, there were so many good riders, in that pack. It was just too much to try and hold off there. Look at the gap that he had. And I think part of it was he did not accelerate to 57 kilometers per hour on that downhill, actually, that he just went down. You can actually see that he only did, he was doing about 50 kilometers per hour on that downhill. The pack did about 55 and was able to carry through some speed to keep it within 10. Exactly. And that's all that was needed, right, Dave? That 3 seconds is the difference between the finish line and not being first and actually being just behind 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And wow, well, I mean, what a lesson in courage and in physics out here. Because I think, really, Nathan, how many times have we talked about patience? And the other thing that is interesting here is I'm a little surprised that his team wasn't able to play off of this a little bit better. To tell you the truth, talking about BL13, where they had the perfect run in as far as sitting on the chase. And I guess, I mean, everybody just the legs must have been so heavy at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right there. I mean, there's just it's just too much. It's just too much at this point. I mean, when you've got that kind of a power sprint uphill at 13 watts per kilogram still to give, it's just you can't respond to
So
that, and that's just all there is to it. Is that there's enough firepower left in this group to go over the top, over the top, over the top. And in crit racing, Dave, you know all about that. I mean, you know all about the reality
sure.
of how
Yep.
much time can get closed down with a motivated pack coming in the final few corners. I mean, you can have the 500 meters, and that can get shut down in in 30 seconds.
Well, and oftentimes in American criterium racing, exactly what you're saying, and the only thing that stops the catch from being made would be the fact that if they went into the last two corners any faster, they would have crashed. Like, they had the ability to go faster. It's just that the speed limit hits for them. That's not the case out here. I mean, what I think is interesting in the analysis is when you look at Talent Frey, that team had one rider in this event, Christian Grupp. And Christian won, going up against a fully loaded BL13 squad. And it shows you how bike racing is very, very unique in the fact that it's not a numbers game. Numbers make a big difference. And if you can use them correctly, you can really set yourself up to be in a much better situation. But bike racing is always going to come down to a superhuman individual effort in a team sport. I think that's fascinating.
100%. It is. It really is. And how much the chess that you talk about often, Dave,
So,
it really is
right.
a chess game, isn't it?
And imagine if you're Christian Grupp, right? If he doesn't win this race, he doesn't have to go back to a virtual team van and explain to six other guys how they did the work to set him up and he wasn't able to deliver. He came in as an underdog, a wild card, whereas BL13, unfortunately, they have to go back to they're obviously getting ready to spawn out of here in Watopia. But as they have their conversation, I think it's going to be really the conversation, if you ask me, should be, I'm glad we're doing this. This is going to make us a much better team. We're getting to run some scenarios out, see how things play out, and we can adjust and adapt. And I have a feeling we're going to win more races down the road because of the racing we're doing right here today.
You got to give the hats off to them, BL13, and the way that they
Yeah,
played that all the way
I love
around.
that team.
But I mean, Dave, racers make the race. They made it so exciting. They made it so exciting. I don't think a single one of them is in the top 10. They went. I mean, and that's great
Go
training.
big or go home, right?
Exactly. That's amazing training. Actually, it's an amazing show that they've put on. And you know what I like about it, Dave, is because they did that. Their series is one of the hottest series on this entire platform. Let's go ahead and go through these real quickly here, Dave, and then we'll get into our next race.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it. These are my favorite races to cover now. I look forward to Wednesdays more than anything. Christian Grupp, you're the reason why, bud. Awesome job today. Efficient, trusting in himself. 4.2 watts per kilo. That's exceptional. Joachim Lisan ends up in second. There's a huge name, a world championship contender year in, year out. So Lisan for second. Sevket Ozer, one of the best sprinters on the planet today out of Turkey. He's going to take Hexagon in for a third. Michael Painter for Wahoo Lacole fourth today. Concayan for Hexagon in fifth. Adrian Villiers, he's another Hexagon restart rider in sixth. Berkan is another Hexagon rider there in seventh. JC Belliot, Jean-Christophe Belliot of the Optimum team, another one of our Quebecers, and he's eighth today. Matteo Milanese for PRT in ninth, and then Cesar Martingale. That's a name to note, Nathan. Look at that, 5 watts per kilo. He did a lot of work out there, and I'm going to expect to see some big wins from him in the future. That's our top 10 for the A's.
And the B category was Aaron Self coming on through for ESRT, Ryan Dummer for Wahoo Lacole, Hugh Davies there for WOC in third place. It's going to be Stephen Leonards for BZR. Scott from KM Hunt TV. Oh man, I really want to see that. I'm sorry we couldn't get over to this sprint, everybody, but Pete Brooks come on through for 6. It is going to be Joseph Wilcox from EXN. And then Neil Corbin, followed up by Paul Curley, Chorley, and Paul Durnow for race 3R. Let's see if we got some C category finishers yet. I'm going to go ahead and reload this. I think we should be able to have them. We still got about 2 minutes to the start of the next race, Dave. And Paul Smith showed up from ART. Good to see Paul.
Nice, Paul. Congratulations on a big win today as well for the ART team, Atomic Racing. He's got his teammate in second as well. Way to go, Ryan. Ryan Cranton for silver today. And then it's Jorg of the YT, Jorg and the bike team for TFC. That's the Friday Criterium in third. Matthias Kjellberg of ESRT in fourth. Turgay Ozdemir in fifth. Marcin Gasic in sixth. It's going to be Jamie, another one of the TFC riders who probably does some team time trialing as well. And I don't think his parents named him 3 in seventh. And then it's Duncan Caskey in eighth, Paul Bezant, Atomic Racing in ninth, and then Björn Kalkin in 10th. That 3, always a dead giveaway that you team time trial. Just tells me you're cool.
We don't have any D category riders, it looks like here. So we got about 14 seconds to the start of the next one. It's going to be interesting here, Dave, because a lot of firepower was used up. I wonder if we're going to have any fresh riders. That's the other question that always comes up when it comes to these, because some riders don't participate necessarily. And then you got like a rider like Keys showing up here who might have a lot of firepower to give. Perot, was he in there as well? I have a feeling that some of these riders didn't race this last one, Dave. That's going to be interesting.
I wonder, do they throw any shade on each other for that in the
there may be a little bit, especially for the point hunter, type. I think some of them are going to be like, come on now, what's going on? Like, know, but that's reality. And BL13 puts it right in there. They say right in there that, hey, show up to whatever you want. No requirements. It's here for the fun. It's good for the training. But, some people are out here point hunting for the rankings as well.
Hey, it's interesting. I'm very careful on my statements around this. I was looking at the forums yesterday over the fastest through segment conversations, and it really is what sport is all about. People have different takes on how things should be done, and collectively as a community, we have to come together and figure out how we want these rules to be applied and what the rules actually are. But pretty dramatic difference in take on some of these subjects, for sure.
The rules. I'm gonna, because it's calm, because everybody's like, "What just happened to me?" I'm gonna dive in a little bit on this one, and it's in the rules. If you don't like it, go race a different. Go race a different race.
I'm with you.
Like if
work to get the rules changed, but
and the reality is, if you don't like it, go race a different race. There's plenty of races out on Zwift, and it's a team race. It's set up that way specifically because that it's seen that way, that this is an opportunity. It's actually so I'm going to say it that because it's in the rules and written that way on purpose, it's a positive thing. And if you don't see it as a positive thing, that's fine. You don't need to see it as a positive thing.
You don't have to race.
No, at all. Right. It's just that is the way this team race is organized on purpose, because they want that to be a part of this. It's actually something they're aimed after. It's not a mistake. It's like, no, we want people to be able to sprint when they want to sprint.
It's not an oversight. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hammer that one. I'm being like pretty hard here that like, it's okay, everybody. There's plenty of other things you could do on Zwift.
And it's interesting. I mean, and again, while it's calm right now, there's a lot of heavy legs here just trying to work out some. But what I would say is, and actually, I'm kind of in agreement with the folks that don't like seeing it, but I'm with you in that I'm accepting it because that's the rules and that's that. I would say that maybe 75, you have to have a super majority of racers coming together to say that they don't want that to really affect change, And so we'll see what happens. Right.
That's a good point.
So, all right. Yeah. And I'm going to just leave that there.
Now, this is way calmer, Dave.
I feel like I could hang with these guys.
they're what just happened? I think that BL13 were the super instigators on that last one. And now I think everyone's like, all right, what are they going to do? What's happening?
We
do have a lot of new names, though. A lot of new names.
So Nathan, also, it's like, well, in that first race, we tried one tactic, and that decidedly didn't work. We didn't put anybody in the top 10 there. Let's go ahead and try the exact opposite tactic. It looks to
Mm-hmm.
me like what they're doing. Let the other teams attack, and we'll try to bring it all back together at the end. So the distance for this one's about the same, to tell you the truth, getting close to 13K, about the same amount of climbing as well.
I'm hearing that in the C category race, we do have a Paralympian actually in the C category, George, and the bike live on Twitch right now. We're gonna see if we can find his Twitch stream as well. Great to see. We'll see if we can get a
This
crossover
is
to.
Jörg Sauer of the Austrian rider.
It's awesome, very cool to see. And actually, I have found his Twitch, and I think I just recently followed him actually over on Twitch. In the last couple of days, I think I actually hosted him just the other day. So, definitely go and check that out. Very cool to see. I think he's going to upload over onto YouTube as well later. So great to see he's out there creating content. Things so quiet. I'm not used to this. It's gonna be 2 laps, I
Me
think.
either. Yeah, correct.
2 laps, but I think they have a custom finish that's just on the top of the two bridges. So we're gonna have a little bit of a cutoff. Or no, yeah, there's a little bit of a cutoff. We don't go up the other side, the reverse side of the Watopia reverse climb. It's not. They're not gonna go up all the way. They're going to cut off and hit the dirt section and go down the Watopia forward pretty quickly there. And then I think we're finishing right around that dirt section actually today.
All right, we'll keep our eyes open there. Nathan, this is really interesting. You know, one of the sayings that I felt like we connected with was racers make the race, right? And that this is a really interesting example of that, isn't it? Because typically, if you went back 3, 4 years ago, you couldn't imagine a Zwift race starting like this, could you? I mean, this
No,
would be, you'd
it's
think
almost
something was
always.
broken.
Yeah, it was
Right.
almost always pretty intense. And I have a feeling a lot of people have learned though, Dave, haven't they? And
They sure have.
this is a savvy group. Not saying that not every
Great
I mean
point.
this
There's
group
no beginners
knows.
out here.
No,
Yeah.
they know
Yeah.
what's going on here. They know that like if I go and risk everything, and I mean there's just the reality too that I saw somebody say they did 6.3 or 6.2 watts per kilogram normalized power for the entirety of that last race. So I'm
Good
hearing that
grief.
people thinking that the things are a little bit interesting.
Oh, maybe there is something going on. I've
Did
seen
they
Daz
turn
Carter's
on
comment.
rubber banding? Uh-oh.
Wow.
Oh
It looks like they.
no.
Oh
Oh
boy.
no.
So yeah, the Daz, unbelievable. That well, at
We'll
least
see.
we got
I
one
don't know. We
incredible
don't
race in
know. We
today.
don't know for sure, but it
I'm
does
thinking
look.
so. I mean,
There's no
Nathan, at this point
draft.
now,
There's no draft on currently. So
according to
draft is
Sauce,
off. So they don't have draft on. They're only doing 31, 32 kilometers per
but
hour.
we haven't seen one rider move off an inch off the front yet, have we? Or have we? I seem to think that this has remained a intact peloton, which is unimaginable, to tell you the
I'm gonna
truth.
actually I'm gonna
Sorry, guys.
find
And
I'm
you know,
gonna
it doesn't look like they can get dropped either. Guys
no,
are going to the
something's
back.
definitely going on here. This is interesting. I'm gonna see if I can find out actually what's happening. If you give me a minute here, Dave.
Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, no problem. Looking at all of these bikes, I thought for a second there that everybody was on a Tron, but that's not even close to the case out here. We've looking at this group of heavy hitters. I hope that they do get a chance to sprint at least. A lot of these guys have. Yeah, it looks like rubber band is on. I think they're actually testing it themselves right now.
Yeah,
So Nathan is hard at work trying to
I
figure
think
out what is
so. Look
going
at that.
on
There's
here.
people using the invisibility power ups trying to like what is happening. So while they get a good cooldown, oh, I really hope that.
Well, we got one good race in.
Oh man, that
That's
hurts.
Mr. Brightside.
Yeah, I like it. Good job, Mr. Brightside. I really I appreciate your. I appreciate. I'm gonna go across to some of these other events here. I do have 2 Zwifts up.
Oh,
At
how
this
about the
point, so we're
C's?
gonna
Yeah, what's
see.
going on with the
I'm gonna
C's?
jump
Maybe we can
across
see what Jorg is doing.
to the C's and see what's happening over there. Paul Smith might be able to help us out As look, I think this is the real
They're
test.
testing the rubber band.
Yeah, did you see Grupp just showed?
Yeah.
Grupp just showed because they're going off the back and getting pulled
And
right
bouncing
back in. I mean, they're gonna these
Well, good
poor
job,
guys.
Christian. Congratulations on an outstanding race earlier. I'm a big fan of Christian Grupp and Talent Frey. I'd like to see them do something like what BL13 is doing, put on their own series. They're a great team. They seem to have a lot of cool characters.
Oh man, well.
Do you want me to just keep bright siding?
Yeah, just keep bright siding. We'll just have fun now. We'll just have fun. Actually, I want to see what they can do because you can snap the rubber band. I think you can snap. I'm not positive, but I think you can.
Philip's
snap it.
trying to.
So, Utley, what he could do is what you can do is
load
if you go
up
far enough off the back, it'll like super
whip
accelerate
you,
you and whip you, and then I wonder if you could go off the front or something. Like that would be crazy.
You probably just end up bouncing off the front and then come flying back the other way. Right.
Oh man,
like a trampoline.
Oh.
The trampoline power
chat,
up.
We're here for you. We're here for you, chat. You got anything you want to talk about? Here we go. Utley's going. Utley's trying to make something happen. 40 kilometers per hour.
He's going to try to break the rubber band. Come on, Philip. And there it is.
Respond, but all they have to do is do like 5. Oh my gosh, 10 watts per kilogram and goes nowhere. Oh, poor guy. Poor guy. Like you're working so hard. And there's just
this is the worst race ever. We've identified the worst race ever right now. Poor Philip.
What happened to Mr. Brightside?
Mr. Brightside gave up. He bailed. He'd had enough.
Okay, so what is this like in real life? Like, yeah, we sprinted 200 meters. I love it.
Well, this is comparable maybe to sitting in a road race that's been neutralized for the entire day, you know?
Yeah. Or
not what you look
or you know what it feels like to me? It feels like that crit race that the one team showed up to and nobody can go anywhere, so everyone just stops racing. Like you have a lot of individual pros or a lot of teams only showed one.
I saw that race.
You know, and then who knows shows up, some big team, Legion controls, or somebody just controls all day, and everybody just goes, whatever, the next half of the race, we're not doing anything because you guys have screwed everything up.
Well, I saw 100% exactly that, Nathan, when 12 of this is in the early days of the EF team back when it was TIAA Kref and Timmy Duggan and that crew, Pete Stetna was on that team, and they raced against one of the 2 Americans that's won a stage at the Tour de France, the Giro d'Italia, and Vuelta a España. That's Tyler Farah and Dave Zabriskie in this case. Tyler Farah I'm talking about, and Tyler was the only Health Net rider against 12 of really talented kids on that TIAA Kref team. And it was exactly what you're talking about. When you have one team that's that dominant, it just snuffs out any kind of joy of racing. That's for sure.
It's going to be interesting here. Oh yeah, totally. It completely does. And that's what it reminds me of a little bit here for sure. But I mean, quite the challenge, but eventually, you know what's going to be interesting is that the sprint, because they're all talking about the sprint that they're going to do. The sprint is going to be a timing thing. It's not going to be about power.
So it's going to be about who hits the front before the rubber band pulls you back.
Yeah, it's going to be all time. This is going to be one of the funniest sprints we've ever seen on Zwift, I think, because you know, it'll all be just this wall of riders sprinting at the front, really, 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 really push. Essentially, it reminds me of when you do a is it a time-based interval or a distance-based interval? Or no, it's when you do a calorie-based interval. That's what it feels like, because you're going as hard as you can to get as quickly as you can to that calorie number. If you are going all out for it, but it's like this battle for that number is the faster you go to get to it, the more it hurts. That's what it feels like to me. I've done a couple of those. They're the most painful thing you'll ever do. I'm not kidding. Like I've never been. I only discovered it because I was
intervals. That's incredible.
Energy based intervals. Like okay, I'm going to do an interval from this energy expenditure to this energy expenditure. I'm not kidding you. If you try it, stream, it is mind-bendingly painful.
So yeah, like 100-calorie interval.
But you do a
right?
smaller
And
interval. You do a smaller number
yeah,
so that
that would be a long interval, wouldn't it? I mean, burning 100 calories takes more than half an hour.
yeah, so maybe
Probably.
50,
Right.
maybe
So
50 or something, or you know what I mean? So that's
right.
something
That's
huge.
interesting. Yeah. Fascinating. Well, my money's on Christian Grupp. Here, going 2 for 2.
Actually,
Who
this
do
is
you
gonna
like
be
today, Nathan?
this is the fun betting actually, because this betting is a
Now
lot
it's just
more
randomized.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a lot more like pulling like for the the cherry. You're definitely just all right. Let's run the
So
roulette here and see what happens.
right.
I got 77, 13, and 2. Okay, like
and red. And
yeah,
red.
and red. Yeah.
So I was laughing because sports betting online has existed now. I mean, you can go all the way back to the Unibet team in the mid 2000s that the UCI had to say this isn't kosher. We can't have that. But I mean, it's well known that you can bet on anything at this point. And I definitely had to be very clear with myself that that wasn't going to be healthy to get into wagering on cycling. I just don't like the concept of wagering on cycling. I like to keep the sport pure for myself. And once you start betting on things, believe me, the purity is gone. That's for sure. But picking riders is something that we take a lot of joy. It's a lot of fun to try to look at a field and say these are the riders to watch, and for this reason I think this the course suits him, or he's particularly motivated, or she really needs a win right now. Whatever the case may be, it is really fun to analyze racing that way, but it's good to keep it fun and not get money involved.
Unless you can get a contract. If you can get a contract, then the
Or you
money's
can win.
okay. So, well, Christian Grupp, I don't know, man. He's at the back here.
Well, that's why I want him. That's what I
he's
like, the
being
rubber
smart.
band.
Yeah, the rubber.
Yep.
I wonder back to front timing might be the whole answer here. That might be the answer. It really might be what I think. You're right. I think
it's you got to give to get theory, right? So I'm going to give them as much of a lead as I can into the last. What if you're Christian? Then Nathan, using this theory, what do you start your sprint at about 500 meters to go? Then from the back of the group.
Yeah.
When do you initiate?
That's a good question. I think.
This is ridiculous conversation. To tell
I don't
you the
like.
truth.
I don't
try to analyze how to sprint out of a rubber banded group.
I think. Yeah. I think you go. No, I think you go more like 100. I think you 200 to 150.
Okay, let's go with the good old fashioned 200, right?
We've been using that. It gives you enough time to roll through the pack at a good amount of speed and find yourself at the front. So, what'll be really interesting?
What is Neil on about here?
I didn't see. I missed that one. Sorry. What is Neil on about?
Ask again, Neil, please. I'm curious.
Was he talking to us?
Well, maybe he was talking about the end result. At any rate, I think the tactics and strategy here. Everybody probably trying to
probably
run
get
through their mind.
removed from any kind of rankings or anything. I would hope, because I mean this is just a group ride, so.
I would hope, yeah.
I think so. I mean, BL13 can just
actually.
I'm drinking tea with cotton at the moment. I like it. Neil. Oh man, they're making their plan. A little bit of a kick again from the pink jersey. I'm not sure who that is. This is so funny. I think the only reason half of them are still here is because we're on broadcast right now. Start reading the book now. Oh, and it looks like to a TT bike. Out. That'd be interesting.
Give it a shot, Niall.
I mean, you'll jump. You can do whatever you want. It'll pull you right back in. They're not going anywhere.
That's a good point. So you could stop and change to your TT bike, and then you can
stop for a couple. You can stop and do whatever you want at this point. Yeah, you'll get tractor beamed. Exactly. I mean, this is full on Death Star.
Dan, I'd say go ahead and try, Dan, for a coffee. I'm curious now too. That's Dan Seaman asking. Can you do a
Podsline says, thanks for making this somewhat interesting. You're welcome, Podsline. You guys are making it interesting. I want to see some fun little, get creative here, guys. Do all kinds of stuff. Bike swaps, start running. I don't know. Can you get, I don't even know. Do something different. What if somebody did swap to running? I think you can do that. Huh.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see Leeson doing 2 watts per kilogram. That's the best line of the day.
Right?
He does 2 kilowatts per kilogram in his sleep.
I think, well, Leeson knows how to sit in, though. I think some people might be like, I don't
He
know
knows
about
how to
that
race.
one.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he knows how to
that's
sit in. I think
he's
I
not
see him
just a
do 2 watts
machine.
per kilogram more than anybody else, actually.
Actually,
Oh,
that's his
man.
neighborhood. He's either making 2 watts per kilogram or 8 watts per kilogram, but rarely
Yeah,
in
one
between.
or the other. One
Right.
or the other. So, well, what
Well,
do we got going on besides this? The fact of what's happening right now, Dave, in the world of Zwift.
I want to
Well,
wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving in America,
thank
anyways,
you.
coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one for me. We
How many calories are you going to burn in your race to allow yourself some extra pie?
Yeah, I think that one will be around. That's going to be about 1,000 calorie. I think day,
What is
in
the
a pretty
course for tomorrow?
short
Team
period of
time trial.
time. I think we're on Watopia waistband. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is. It's going to be a flatter course. And I think we'll see how things go for me. Not, you know, not a, I'm kind of it's hard not to be slightly disappointed with injury where like you put in I think between the month of I'm not like down really about it or anything, but just a little bit bummed, just a little bummed.
No, and
Where
I mean, Nathan, imagine, you're in the Tour de France and you break your collarbone in the first 3 days. Same thing, right? You've done all this work and it's now tossed out the window, and it's disappointing, I think, is really the word.
yeah, disappointing. It was a little bit disappointing to have some injury, but just refocus in life in some ways even too. So but trying to train and I did some solid training, but the comparison though to where I was at because of what I did in September and October to where I'm at right now. I mean, we'll see. I haven't really been able to test it too much. It was almost like emergency training tactics is what I had put in, or protocols
Which
are engaged where it's like, okay, I'm going to do one 4-day block is all I have time after energy or after injury, compared to 3 weeks off. It's going to be tough to see where things are at. I mean, I got dropped full on by 6 watts per kilogram on the front of a TTT. That was
it
normal. Like,
hasn't happened for you. It has,
no,
yeah,
it was
I
like
get it.
that should have been easy. We should be pulling 7 on the front. You know what I mean? So it was
Yeah.
a little bit like, oh, okay, that hurts to see. And the main thing is the time that was put in, where you'd put in about, I think it was a solid. I did probably a 90-hour month, a little
Oh,
over a month. I mean, it was about 5 to 6 weeks, 90 hours of work put into 5 to 6 weeks. And that's just gone. You know what I mean? Like it's not gone. I mean, there's still some of that left over in there, but you can't hold on to that too easily. You know what I mean? After that amount of break, when you essentially have to have your off season thrown in the middle of that. You know what I mean? So that was a little rough for it, but it's all about acceptance and refocus on areas of life and really focused on ZCL and Gabby, and we'll see how things can come back around for the second half of the season if they do. So, but just got to be careful because you can get over excited and re-injured, and we don't want to see that. So
yeah. The only time I've ever really heard in my time in the sport of emergency training or emergency training plan working would be Matt Heyman in Zwift in the Tour de France when he broke his elbow and came back and won that Roubaix back in 2015. That was quite an incredible story. I just saw Moffat Tarek there making the comment, Nathan, that he did swap bikes, went back
did he
14
really?
seconds, came throttling back up into the group, and then the auto brake hit, and then he was right back where he was. So they tried. I appreciate it, Maffa.
Where is he? I'm gonna see if I can find him and see what bike that he's on. Podsy's here.
I don't know
And
that client side it's going to show the bike
yeah,
if he
you may be
changes,
right
does it?
there. You might be
Right.
right. It might not show. See if I can find him at least and get the idea of whether or not. Carter's letting us know not they're doing. They didn't do it on purpose, and I wouldn't think so. I mean, they're really good organizers. Just a glitch, it seems like, in the
Yeah,
matrix
all
here.
apologies. or all apologies accepted. Just these things happen. I
That is
can't wait
one
to be
thing
back
that's
next week.
different about Zwift. That is one thing that is different about Zwift, where I will win because he's on the Zwift basic bike. That remakes are not really possible. Like in the world of esports, you can do remakes pretty easily a lot of times, but unable to do so.
What do you mean by remake? Redo the race?
Yeah, you
Right.
do your settings
Reset everything.
real quickly. Like
Right.
a lot of times
Yeah.
when in the esports world,
Just bring everybody back and say, hey guys, yep, we're going to come back to the start line. We'll start in 2 minutes and then just start it with the correct parameters set.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Utley.
Uh-huh.
He's playing games here. And is he fully going to be dropped or can he easily come back? That's the question for me. 23 seconds. I think the band is broken for him at this point. 28, 30. Yeah, he's broken now. It wouldn't let him use a TT bike. Oh, that's why. But yeah, so custom games is usually how esports is done by individuals. Like in a lot of games, you can just make your own event pretty quickly, set up whatever settings that you want, and then bam, you are able to just quickly remake, right? Just invite the right people, and bam, you're good to go. But here in Zwift, and I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Whoa, 18 watts per kilogram here. Ozer, nice little move. We're getting responses here. Oh, it's a little early though. Not sure that's gonna work out. I'm not sure we're gonna be able to see the finish line actually because it is custom. We'll see if we can.
He's making 12 watts per kilo and going 28 kilometers per hour. Yeah, that's like racing on wet carpet.
It's a really tough one. Are we going to see this banner? I do have 2 Zwifts up here. Maybe I think there are sprinting full on for it.
I mean, everybody's sprinting. This is nuts. Look like they sprint right up to the front and then rubber band
and nothing. Well,
oh, no.
Oh, Grupp. Is he going to do Christian! It? I think he's going to do it. No.
Oh, no.
Oh, immediately stopped. The timing.
It's crazy.
Timing.
One at a time.
One of them are going to do it. One of them are going to do it here. There it is.
That was it.
There it is. Below the timing. Optimum rider with the timing. That's all it was.
Oh Canada. Well, that was weird.
That was weird. We actually ran out of space for the replay because like our replay ran out of space, so I don't have the replay. Sorry, everybody. It took too long. It took too long at the rubber band speed.
Well, guys, sorry about that one. I know that nobody wanted that experience, but at least you kept great attitudes out there. This is a really cool group.
I hope everybody was able to at least have fun with the broadcast. Sorry, everybody, with the broadcast. I think we went up in viewership.
Now we're apologizing for us.
It's like, look, like the people, all of a sudden chat starts coming in. You start getting people like interested in what's going on. It's a little bit out of the norm. So it looks like they at least enjoyed themselves. Question, Nathan, what's that one piece of advice you have for any cyclist making positive progress, however, feels that there's one missing step yet to become competitively relevant? Ooh. One piece of advice would be
believe in yourself.
Yeah,
that's what I'd say.
The one piece of advice, because cycling is so multifaceted when it comes to the things that you can do for gains. When it comes to just action and not a mindset or a motto or a philosophy, because I think Dave is right on that. When it comes to one piece of advice, it's going to be more about a philosophy. It's going to be more about how you do things, the way you think about these things, the whys that you have. That's going to be more the one piece of advice that can come along. Besides that, the best actionable one piece of advice is ride your bike more. And do it smart. Intelligently ride your bike more is going to be the one thing that's going to make you a faster cyclist at the end of the day, unless you're already overtraining, or that's why I say I give it a caveat of intelligently, sure. But it is there's just, and as a coach, my mind is like trying to be as careful as I can with what I'm saying to you, because it's like, there are so many things in cycling, and like the body has so many different exercise systems that all can be worked on. And if we have to find your weaknesses and strengths, so there's more going to be a philosophy that'll have to come along and bring that next level in. But Dave, do you have anything you want to say? I mean, you've been around the sport a long time, so longer than me.
Yeah, well, yeah, well said. And I always laugh when I remember Kevin Livingston, one of America's great pros, when he was asked, how do I go faster? His simple answer was pedal harder. And I thought to myself, wow, that's you can make it as simple as you want or as hard as you want. And I really think that, every athlete is going to be different. It really depends on who you are, how you answer that question. But I think first and foremost is if you've had the courage to get into cycling, which is not a sport for the weak of heart, then believe in yourself. You've already made some great moves. Just continue on this path. Don't worry about it. Just do.
Yeah, that's a good one. Don't worry about it. That's a really good one. But one thing I would say though for sure is you find someone who cares, who's got more experience than you. Someone who
mentorship,
but it's someone who really cares about your journey, like really cares about your journey.
I wish that we
more
could even
knowledgeable
say that
than
again.
you.
Because that's the worst thing that can happen is someone who corrupts your experience because they have maybe not even ill intent, but they're not you. So Nathan, that's really well said. Find someone that you can believe in. I mean, actually, it was really touching here in America. President Carter, Rosalind Carter, his wife, just passed away yesterday. And his quote about her brought me to tears when he said that as long as Rosalind was in the world, he knew that there was someone who loved him and who had his back. Right. And that's huge. And I think that's kind of what you're saying, Nathan, is find that person, but make sure that person is true blue.
Yeah, exactly. And there can be people with the best intentions who don't know. So that's why there's the two piece to that, right? Like I had a coach early on who had the best intentions, who didn't know. Just didn't know. Like they had their own way of doing things that was stuck in a certain kind of bubble and didn't take me as far as I could have gone. I think like the results I got later when I was older were way better than the results I got when I should have been in my prime, which is alarm bells to me looking back. You see what I'm saying? Like when I represented the USA at World Cups and did this, but the results there were not where they were now. And it had everything, looking back at how I was training then and the ways, things that we were doing, the methods, it had everything to do with, I had somebody who kind of cared. They had a good amount of care, but it was more of just like a friend at the same kind of thing, helping me out, and wasn't completely invested, I think, and didn't have the right. You got to make sure you find people who really got the right experience, really know what they're doing, and really, really care about your journey and are totally invested. I think those things, you put those together, and I think that's really what, you got to have that feedback loop. If you go with this solo, that's a really hard road to run.
Get too in your own head with training too. I always worry about self-coached athletes. You really do need a sounding board, and to be honest, someone that emperor has no clothes thing too. Someone to tell you that, dude, this isn't right. Your diet, that's another thing. You do need checks and balances.
You need a sounding board. You do. You need a really good sounding board, and that's why the best athletes in the world have a team around them.
If you think you're fastest when you only eat broccoli, you need someone to check in and tell you that might not be true.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely reach out and check out the wrap. Hang out with us on the wrap. Bring in your questions there, and we'll try and point you to the right resources. Obviously, we've got some coaches around the wrap scene as well. Myself, Anna, Alex Coe. There's plenty of other coaches out there besides the ones that we're, but we love to feature and chat about them and create that network that's out there. There's plenty of people out there, obviously, that you can find. So I hope that helps. And well, I'm glad that this is at least able to come into a little bit of chatter with chat there over on YouTube and throw out some advice and stuff. But everybody, again, apologies. It wasn't our. I mean, we didn't do it, but I mean, we're sorry that it happened. We're sad that it happened with the second race. At least we had one of the best first races we've ever seen. I wonder how BL13, they'll probably just scratch this one, I would think, in the series, because I don't think there's much else you could do. But we'll be back next week for the next round. Yeah, for the next round in this series. A lot's going on in the background, everybody. Tons of things are getting set up for the Echelon Racing League. If you are in the USA and you want to jump into that as qualifiers for the U.S. National Championships, make sure to go check out Echelon Racing League. There's links to that over on the ZCL website and our blog post about it. That is going to be coming up on December 2nd, actually. We've got the Zwift Grand Prix tomorrow on Zwift's channels. We got the wrap tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Central Time. That's also a podcast. You can check that out. And then obviously we'll be back for Z Racing next week, Monday, which has absolutely been amazing to see the viewership and the participation there. It's becoming one of our largest events that we're actually broadcasting, which I'm super excited about. And then Zwift Racing League. And we've got a couple other things coming down the pipelines as well. So, Dave, there's so much going on. Plenty. We're full gas into the Zwift season at this point, aren't we?
Love it. Absolutely love it. So, yeah, thanks for the great attitudes, everybody, today. Can't wait to see you on Monday.
And that's it for me and Dave. Thanks, everybody. Again, ZwiftCommunityLive.com. Go sign up over there. Become a member for updates and everything that's going on. Hit those subscribe, follow buttons at wherever you're following. It helps out the channels a ton. We just hit an amazing goal of just over 13,000 subscribers on YouTube. We want to hit that 14,000 goal before the end of the Zwift season. So let's make sure to do that. And we'll see you tomorrow for Zwift Grand Prix and the wrap, as always, from us. Ride on.